This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for our cable news gab-fed show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. You have the code of a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to your head if you never stick to you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
And do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to TruckerMouth, the podcast that gives you real insight into the trucking industry while providing a platform for your voice to be heard. Whether you're behind the wheel, managing logistics, or just passionate about the industry, this is the place to build confidence, share experiences, and stay informed. Join us as we tackle the challenges, celebrate the wins, and drive forward together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to TruckerMouth Underground Studio. Where I'm down here, I give veterans a voice. I'm TruckerMouth, and you're on the road show. Today, we're going to discuss the speed limiter controversy that is going on in the government. Speed limiters on commercial vehicles. Speed limiters, well, they govern the speed that a commercial vehicle can go. No matter how big the engine is or anything like that. If it's set at 65, that's all you can go. And it's just like a restrictor plate that the NASCAR has. They can only go so fast. But they go 190, but we don't. So yeah. So is it need necessity or a road hazard? And that's the controversy surrounding this bill. Before I get started, I want to talk about the Veterans Improvement Commercial Driver's Licensing Act, which was implemented in 2023, that allows people exiting the military with GI Bill benefits. I got to take these off. I can't see. To use their GI benefits to go to regulatory approved CDL Class A truck driving schools if they want to pursue the American dream or the American nightmare. It depends on what you make it. They used to not let you do that because the school was too short, and they just didn't want to give you schools the money. But now they're doing it for that, and probably I'm going to speculate other transportation industries such as see your transportation is not limited to the American trucking. It's your cargo ships, which is your merchant marine jobs. It's your planes, your trains, anything bringing cargo from one point to another, keeping the economy going good is transportation. And then eventually I'm going to expand my show to events for transportation, not just American trucking industry, but yeah. So actually they said something to me about merchant marines when I was getting out of the Navy. I just got off a 6-month med cruise. Like, I ain't going back out to sea. Girl, what you pay me? But maybe I should have. Anyway, let's get on the road with this speed limiter act here. So a bill by U.S. Representative Josh Breachin, probably heard that name before on the news, that would prevent the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration from creating a speed limiter mandate has been introduced to Congress again. So there's a lot of opposition to this bill. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is going to issue a proposal to require speed limiter devices on commercial vehicles. And they're going to do it this May. And the FMCSA previously projected the proposal to be released in June 23rd of 2023, December 23rd of 24. Now it's going on to the May 24th. So it's been bounced around. It's been introduced. It's been set aside. So it's very, very, very big topic, and a whole lot of people don't want them on their trucks. Now, a lot of your companies already do this. Okay, so Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration restarted the rulemaking process for speed limiters in 2022. So I guess it was shot down. Now they're trying to bring it up again. They brought it up again in 2022. And when they brought it up in 22, it met with heavy opposition from truck drivers who responded with 15,000 comments. Okay, so, they don't want this. They don't want this speed limiters. If you can't, it's hard to talk about this, but they don't want it. I mean, there's situations where you need your speed, and like I said, a lot of your big carriers already govern their trucks. So there's one size doesn't fit all on this bill. Okay, one size doesn't fit all. You can't say, well, every commercial vehicle is going to have a speed limit set at 65 mile an hour. Well, you can't do that. That don't pertain to. First off, that don't pertain to a whole lot of states. I think, in TruckerMouth's opinion, if you're with a company and you're just starting out, okay, you go through truck driving school, you go out with a trainer and all that, I think you should have a speed limit set. Just so you start to know how to handle the truck, the weight. I mean, you're out with a trainer, yeah, but now you're on your own. So now you're out there on your own, man, and you got to have control of this vehicle. I think you should mandate that, but it's if you go to a company with 20 years experience, I think, and a good driving record, and then hardly any CSA points, I think that you should be exempt from the speed limit rule to a point. So I mean, it's one size doesn't fit all on this bill. There's no way. There's too many variations. There's too many variations. State to state. I think it should be set what region you're in. Like East Coast, you got Central, or you're in the mountain, or you're Pacific, and also on the experience of the driver. Now, you know how these satellites run everything with trucks now. They're linked in these satellites all over the place. They should make it where if you go over to 65 and you go to a state that is 75 or 80, they should automatically be able to turn the truck up, somehow. I mean, they can shut trucks down. Why can't they do that? So, like I said, again, one size doesn't fit all on this. The exact speed has not been finalized. Previous discussions have considered limits between 60 and 68. 60. You ain't doing nothing with 60. That's like I said, when I started back driving truck again, I got into propane for 3 years. I started back again with CRST. It's a mostly team-oriented trucking company. And we were governed at 67. And I understand that because I was just getting back in. Now, a guy who was training me was a lifetime friend of mine. So, yeah, I mean, I understood that, but hell, we tried to outrun a tornado down in Texas with a 67 mile an hour truck. It wasn't no fun. So they're going to have to do something with, you can't just do it across the board. Previous goes between 60 and 68. Okay, that ain't going to work across the board. No way. Supporters claim that speed limiters can decrease the likelihood and severity of accidents and promote uniform traffic flow and fuel savings. When all the trucks are in a row, yeah, you get the drafting on. You're in 65. They claim you get a whole lot more fuel mileage than hammering down at 70 or something like that. But when you're in line with the trucks, it sucks because you can't go around nobody. You're always staring at the back of a truck. What that's going to do is it going to be like convoying? All the trucks are going to be in a row, and if there's a situation where you need the speed to get out of a situation, you're not going to have it. I was in a situation already. A bathroom situation. Trying to go to the bathroom bed. So I mean, I was hammering down to go get a rest area. You ain't gonna have that. And there's other things. There's people say that when other trucks were entering the throughway, that they came out, and then if they wouldn't have had the speed to get around them, they would have to lock them up. So there's definitely need for some speed out there. That this mandate's is going to dissolve. So opponents contend that the speed differentials between limited trucks and faster vehicles may increase collision. Yes, it will. You're going to increase collision if you're out there in a state that's it's 75. Everybody's going 78, 80. You're out there with a 65-mile-an-hour truck. Your 15 mile an hour is going to come up on you like they're standing still, and that's going to increase the risk of an accident. So, risk and mandate could negatively affect the American trucking industry with retention and supply chain efficiencies. Yes, it would, because if they put that down to whatever it is, and you can't make any money, no one's going to do this job. There's too many things that are already going against being out on the road. Now, I hate to talk negative about it all the time, but it's a hard job. It's a tough job. It's not what it appears to be. There is some times that I'm glad you're out there, but it's a stressful job, and people ain't going to do it. People's not going to do it if they can't make a living. And like I said, it should vary on a lot of things. The region you're running, your experience. And I just don't know how they're going to come out with something across the board that's going to fit all that. But they're not going to do that job. And then they don't do the job. And then the supply chain's down, and it's supply and demand. And you can't, and then people are trying to get what they need. They can't get it because there's no truck. The truck's not there, which is going to increase prices on things and slow things down in the economy. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So it's definitely going to affect the economy, everything. And they got to come up with something, because that ain't going to work. Yeah. Definitely ain't going to work for everybody. So
you ready to go on break, Terry? Or
yeah,
truck
right. Yes, sir, buddy. Yeah, well, okay. We're going to take a commercial break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're giving veterans a voice, and we're discussing the speed limiter controversy bill. So I'll see you back on the road when you come back.
Whatever happened to the brave young soldier He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. At 19 years old, he was sent off to war, not really sure what he was fighting for. So he fights for what's behind him and his brothers beside him. Together they'll weather the storm. 9 long months later and he's still alive. Fought several long battles you shouldn't have survived. Then the IED exploded as the ambush unfolded. He laid there bleeding as his brothers all died. Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. Reinforcements arrived in the nick of time. Old Doc had found him and called in the nightline. He awoke in the hospital, they patched all the holes. Too bad they couldn't fix the ones in his soul. And 16 years later he locks all the doors, unable to find anything worth living for. His family has left him, he feels society rejects him. With a bottle and a pistol, he falls to the floor.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back to the Underground Studio with TruckerMouth, the On the Road show, giving veterans a voice. Oh, DOT, you motherfuckers, why are you pick on truckers trying to make a living with each delivery? Hey, I got kids to feed, the wife needs shoes. Every time I get ahead, you make damn sure lose. Go fuck yourself, damn DOT. Motherfucker. All right. Back on the speed limiter bill discussion here. And I just had to bust out with that rap there. So, okay, so with this new administration uncertainty about the speed limit mandate rule, past efforts such as the Drive Act have aimed to prevent such mandates, reflecting ongoing debates over federal, state, and regulatory authority. Yeah, so you can't, so different states control their speed limits. So how's the federal government going to jump in and say, well, you know, you're going to go this fast. Maybe that state don't want them to go that slow. Maybe their opinion is, like the opponents are saying, it'll make things worse. So I don't know. They got to come up with something or just let it go. Because different states have authority over the federal government. And there is no federal speed limit. So I don't know what they're going to do there, man. But I think states, yeah, like I said, they don't want trucks going that close. 60 to 68, their discussion? No, that ain't going to work anywhere. 68 might work on the East Coast. From New England, that might work. I mean, for new driver, but that ain't going to work in Midwest, out west, nothing like that. I think Florida 75. You get down that way, it's higher speed limit ratings, but yep, the people ain't going to do a job. The supply chain's going to hurt. Supply and demand keeps the country rolling, keeps things going, keeps prices down. Everybody's buying stuff, selling stuff. Yeah. So the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration continues to solicit public input on the proposal. Stakeholders are encouraged to participate. in the comments process express concern, support, or suggestions regarding implementation of the speed limit on commercial vehicles mandate. So the government's taking input from the public on this, and there's millions of truckers out there that are not for this. Well, some might be for. Like I said, some of these companies already do this. And if they already do it, then but this is something that's been thrown around, and like I said, it's very controversial. One size don't fit all. Again, I said that, so I don't know how to go past this. I mean, you get out west. There's 66 states with 80 mile an hour speed limits. 80 mile an hour speed limits out west. So, I mean, how you going to send? I'm sorry if I slipped. I'm sorry. It's how you going to send a tractor out there 65 mile? Them states probably don't want them. They're too slow. Get convoys going at 65 mile an hour, and then you got to slow down sometimes because sometimes it don't take hills. Someone's truck's a little bit a mile an hour faster, half mile an hour faster. It sucks. It sucks. So it's they really have to think about what they're doing, and there's a whole lot of variations to this. There's millions of truck drivers that don't want it. If they can't make a living out there, they're not going to do it. People's not going to get in it. There's too many things going against the industry already with retention. So there's 6 states out west with 80 mile an hour speed limits. Okay, Texas has an 85 between Austin and San Antonio. Otherwise, it's 75 or 80. Yeah, they got like a turnpike down there that's a toll road that goes from Austin, Texas to San Antonio, Texas. Well, 35 runs right down there too, but that's a real heavily congested road. And a lot of DOT on it. Otherwise, it's 75 and 80. So Idaho's up to 80, up to 80. They're going to run these trucks in Idaho with 65 mile an hour. Then you got Wyoming. Wyoming's wide open up there in 80, wide open. Why the hell would you want to run 65 mile an hour? With these new ELDs, electronic logging devices, you can go like 700 miles a day on them. How the hell are you going to do it on a 65 mile an hour truck? Because when you're going down the road, even at 65, these companies and these brokers and all clock you at about 50 mile an hour because that's about what you're getting. You're about 55 mile. If you're going 70, you're going down the road about 55 mile an hour because you got to slow down. Okay, you got to take traffic in consideration. Road configurations. All that. So you lose a lot. It ain't like if you're going 65 mile an hour and drive 10 hours straight, you got 650 miles. That usually don't happen. So then you got Montana. On the rural interstate, the speed limit is 80 mile per hour during the day. And then it's 65 mile at night for trucks. So I guess it's 80 mile an hour for everybody, according to what I looked up, and 65 at night for trucks. Because driving at night, there's a strain on your eyes, man. And it's like a quarter harder driving at nighttime for me anyway than it was driving during the day. So Montana rural interstate 80 during the day, 65 at night. Then you got Nevada, which is up to 80. Them states are all Midwest or out west. And like I said, you can't just set a limit on a truck that runs at. If you're running the Pacific Northwest, you need a truck that's going faster than. Even if you're a new driver, you might start out at 65 mile an hour, but then as your time goes on, they should increase it. Little by little, like you're earning this, you're earning that, you get like merit badges, to get you up there. They claim speed limiters don't reduce power, but I don't know. I don't see how they don't. So also, there's 9 states with 75 mile per hour. Well, I'm having a hard time saying that. 75 mile per hour on rural interstates. 9 states with 75 mile an hour. And you got Arizona, South Dakota, North Dakota, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa. These 75. Them trucks ain't going to make it in these states either. You know, once you get out to New Mexico and it's 75 mile an hour, man, it's hammered down. You're making some time then. And then you're not going to do that with speed limiters on trucks. People ain't going to do the job. And there's already a lot of states that have, you know, different speed limits for trucks and cars. That's up in the air. I mean, that's a controversy too. That's kind of like having a speed limiter if they're not to go so fast. We'll go with the OID magazine here. We got state lawmakers around the country want to make. OIDA believes roadways are safest when all vehicles are allowed to travel the same rate of speed. That definitely helps. I mean, you got to have your decision making out there. They can't hold your hand out there and would say, well, okay, we're going to get, you know, the electronic braking whereas you go to or, you know, you're going to on an on ramp or off an on ramp, and then your van or whatever have your trailer goes so far over, then they start, you know, the brakes already kick in. Now, you can't hold people's hands out there. You gotta let people make their own decisions about things. So I think the speed limit mandate rule or bill, I have some good to it, but I'd say no good. I can't do it, and we're putting a hammer down on it. So these states here with different there are 8 states with speed limit differentiations on at least certain segments of the roadways. The western states of California, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, and Washington have speed differentials ranging from 5 mile an hour to 15 mile an hour. California, this time I was in California, big trucks were running out 55. And the cars were 70. I don't know what that is anymore. I think they raised it up. And then, okay, and then going so far, then I don't think it was 65 for trucks, but a lot of California is still 55, I believe. So that's right. There's a hazard right there. Indiana, trucks are limited to 65 mile an hour. Anything over 26,000 pounds limited to 65 mile an hour in Indiana. And their roadways are 70, 75. So, I mean, they should take the statistics from these states that have lower the speed differentials between big trucks and cars and see what their statistics say. See what is it safer with these states that have this implemented, or is it not? Oh, it's so then we got Doug Morris of OIDA, Director of State Government Affairs, said the speed limiters are based on a flawed belief that slower trucks equal safer trucks. He added that simply is not the case. No, it isn't the case. It's a case for some, but not all. And they can't just put across the board a speed limiter. And TruckerMouth don't like it. So yeah, so that's about the end of the road here. End of the road here on the road show. And thanks for coming. Right, going on with On the Road with TruckerMouth. Yeah, right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.